Hey there. I don't normally make videos out of commentary because I just find it difficult to make it engaging to talk about a fucking gacha game of all things. But now that this topic has been brought up, I just said fuck it. We'll be discussing on how the new Diavolo and PvP affects the metagame, if there is any effect at all. So I came across this tweet from Zenroto, a content creator for PvP, and while I personally don't like his content at all, if you're extremely new to the game, he's got a decent beginner's video to get you started. Although the topic of this video won't make much sense unless you've played the game for a decent while. Anyways, the tweet mentions that S+ tier is now Fordoro, GER, Diavolo, or Risotto. Diavolo is worthy of being in there, he gives huge clock stop and it's very consistent hit around 200k with basically no effort. His only downside is he doesn't charge stand-up gauge. First off, if we're comparing these four units, Fordoro and Risotto are in the same tier, with Fordoro being slightly above Risotto. GER are below those two units, and Diavolo are below all three. Fordoro has best looping capability in the game because the clock stops during his time stop, and he's able to charge gauges fast because of increased gravity of panels during his time stop. And his lowest cooldown is 60 at skill level 5. And not to mention super high fucking damage multiplier during his time stop. Then you have Risotto, who essentially enhances and creates a fuck ton of partner panels if you have no Risotto panels on the board. And this allows for up to 36 panels to be matched instantly, and both Risotto and his partner's gauges are just maxed out, which just allows you to essentially spam the combo without much time loss. So the reason why I say Fordoro is better than Risotto is because he is way less impacted by obstacles on the board. So let's say you have a void in one of the central 4 panels of the board. Risotto's damage capability is now severely hampered because the biggest square he can make is a 3x3. So if you had to pick between the two, you'd pick Fordoro. Now let's say we have a void on the outer ring, like this season. Largest square Risotto can generate is a 5x5, which is pretty damn good. But the option of using Fordoro is still there, so that makes him more versatile in more situations. I place Requiem lower than them because Requiem's problem is lack of consistency and high dependence of RNG. I do admit that Requiem has basically the highest ceiling in the game, as shown by #1 PvP player Winchester Heritage. It is held back by the fact you have to be extremely lucky to get enough Requiem panels to advance to another repeat in his skill. So you could essentially have a first repeat that has 20 Requiem panels and a second one that has 0, which just completely fucks up your loop. That and the enhanced blocks he makes afterwards and the reduced 75% skill charge rate on your partner limits his partner options by quite a bit. And now for the part you've been waiting for, Diavolo. His pro is that he has a stand-up that has a bonus on partner panel, so you essentially want to run replacers with him to maximize this bonus. And I guess you can skip the stand-up if you have 0 stand-up charge, which is alright I guess. And there's his cons, which include those 4 blocks Diavolo makes each time you use his skill. The position of these blocks makes it so the largest square you can make without removing any of them is a 3x3, which pretty much kills off a large variety of replacers that he'd work optimally with. So this basically limits him to Voice Jonathan and Voice Giorno, who can replace over all 4 of these blocks. Anyways, the other con is the fact that if you were to combo your replacer skill during Diavolo's stand-up, after the stand-up ends, neither unit will have any gauge charge. With the exception of Voice Giorno because he can make enhanced journal panels, so he'll get some charge off. And since no one on a Diavolo replacer team has actual proper looping capability, you'll be wasting a lot of time in non-stand-up time just matching normally. So realistically, you could only pull off about 5 Diavolo combos in one game, which means you'd peak at sub 10 million points under normal circumstances. So I'll just show off some Diavolo Voice Journal gameplay, and you'll see my point of clock time loss being his biggest issue. And even in a score attack season that was basically built for him, with its boss giving you 2 boxes and Diavolo's power rating being doubled, he still gets dicked around by the big 2 units. So yeah, Diavolo is nowhere near being in the same ballpark as these units.